At this point, what I'd like to do, and we'll spend just a couple of minutes here, I'd like to introduce Ken Farrell, who will take us through, and this should be again in the handouts and everything, the tool or methodology literally that we utilize with our clients to build their businesses and ensure alignment is in place. So, Ken.
Thanks, Don. First thing I'd like to do is appeal to your sympathies. I have to follow Don, Clint Eastwood, and the Moonwalking Bear, and I got one slide. So, but what we were challenged to do was, am I on? Oh, 10 minutes, sorry. What we're challenged to do was to take and put the whole methodology of alignment and integration on one slide. And we've managed to do that. Now, what you'll see on this slide, you'll say, well, there's really not anything new there. And that's the point, all right? The way you achieve alignment is, as Don said, is leadership has to tell the organization where it's headed. You have to have a way to say, how are we going to get there? And then how are we going to create a result-based culture of achievement and overachievement and results? And the way you do that is on the left-hand side, we have the elements of putting together a strategic plan. Now, what we do is we go in and we work mostly with small to middle market companies that the founder is still there, or it's the second generation of the founder, or in some cases even the third. The founder was probably, as a generalization, a subject matter expert that drove that subject matter expertise through the early stages of revenue growth, probably didn't work anywhere else other than the company that they founded, and then turned it over to the second generation who probably worked in that business and not anywhere else. And the point is, they didn't have a rich background of looking at management systems and appreciation for strategy and how to deploy the strategy. That also is the same thing for large organizations. There's a large U.S. airline based in Dallas that I heard the CEO in a forum group one time say that he said, our strategy is clear. I just can't figure out how to get the troops to rally around it. Had another CEO say, we know what the strategy is, I just can't make anybody accountable. So what this does, and by the way, the whole concept of alignment is also about consensus building. You have to have consensus in the organization around your strategy and agreement and buy-in, and you do that through communication more than, you're not going to create a democratic system where you let everybody vote on strategy, but you have to communicate what that strategy is and figure out how to get it integrated. And we could spend, I got less than 10 minutes now, but we could spend the rest of the morning just on the left-hand side of this slide. When we go in and we ask companies if they have a strategy, typically 80% to 85% say no. And they don't appreciate strategy. Now, when we get involved, we don't write 135-page strategies like Don and I used to do when we were in corporate America. You got a leather-bound book, you got your name on it, you had to sign for it, you had to tell people where it was. And, oh, by the way, that wasn't integrated and aligned either. We write 10 to 15 pages of strategy so that you can keep it simple, but you have to say, leadership has to say, where is the organization headed, and how you get there is as you move to the right side of the slide. We go in, and because strategy is made up of things that are new, you also want to keep your eye on the ball for things that are day-to-day activities. So we ask the organization, tell us what the 6 to 8 things are that you must do well to be successful in your market. FedEx has to deliver packages by 10:30 in the morning. If you manufacture things and advertise them for sale, you need to have them on the shelf. How well do you do shipping product when customers order it? You ought to be in the range of 95% plus. Amazon has set a standard for having things available. So that's a critical business factor. So what are those 6 to 8 things that you have to do every day? And we want to make sure that we create metrics for them and we don't forget about them, because that's where the success of the business lies. Now, what are your strategic plans for the future? Where are you headed? New products, new markets, whatever it is, simply described in your strategy. And when you do that, you come to the end of that first box there, the annual objectives. You create metrics and goals, as Don has mentioned. And if you create those metrics and goals and you deploy those into the organization to the right person, you're starting to create that alignment. You're going to create reward and recognition around those things in your culture piece, such that if I achieve this objective, it's like the teams, the A, B, and C teams. The C team had a buy-in. If they achieved their objectives, they got some reward. People want recognition and reward. So you create those metrics, you create those goals, you deploy them into the organization. They get to the right people, and you don't have more than 4 to 6, probably for any individual. They know you've communicated to them where we're headed, how we're going to get there, and more importantly, how you participate in that. What do I have to do to help the organization move forward? Because one of the top 3 things when we go in and start working with an organization and conduct interviews of the people, always in the top 3 when you talk about issues, is communication. I don't know what's going on. I don't say it exactly this way. I don't know where we're headed, and I don't know how we're going to get there. But in effect, that's what they say. Now, if you can get people lined up with where you want to go, and they're part of how you're going to get there, productivity goes up a minimum of 15%. So if you have 100 people in your company, and when they put their feet on the floor in the morning when the alarm goes off, and they say, oh, damn it, it's Thursday, it's not Saturday, and I got to go to work, you want them to put their feet on the floor, come to your building and say, I'm here, and people don't say it exactly this way, but I'm here to make things better, because if I work on my goals and my objectives, I'm going to help this company move forward. If I improve and I achieve the goals and objectives, I'm going to be rewarded for that. Now you're aligned. You got people aligned. So how do you get people aligned? You deploy your goals and objectives consistent with your direction, and they get rewarded and compensated for that. You also can assess their performance, and you can develop improvement techniques. The continuous improvement organization lives in these environments. And then you cycle back to the beginning. This is what we call a closed loop continuous process. Every year you do the plan over, but since you improved last year, you keep ratcheting up as you go through the plan. Now, we could really spend the whole morning on here, because even in something as simple as the mission statement, which is where we start. Now, how many of us, I won't ask for a show of hands, but how many people have seen a mission statement that's extremely unique? Not many, but that's not the point. The issue is, yet when you put together a mission statement, we ask the management team to answer 4 questions. Who are we? What do we do? Who do we do it for? And why? And so we give them the assignment the night before. We say, we want you to go home, write a 25-word mission statement, come back tomorrow, read it to the group. We'll pick one to start with, and we'll build a mission statement. How much time do you think it's going to take? We'll be out of there in an hour. Without fail, 4 hours later, when we have this session, somebody says, I can't believe you people believe that's what we do. So as simple as that, you start the process of building consensus in the organization. Don and I had an occasion last year to work with a group that was extremely contentious. They were high, everybody was a type A, they all had lots of ideas. My way was the best idea. And the funny thing was that and we were told that this was going to be a difficult group, at the end of the mission statement, after they went through all of that hand-wringing and haranguing each other, there was peace and quiet. Man, they were focused when we got to the next steps of the process. They weren't arguing about what the output of the company was. They weren't arguing about the objectives and so forth. They had reached consensus, and I cannot tell you how powerful that is. So a part of alignment's not complicated, it's not hard to understand, but it has to have a methodology, and if you do it right, it has enormous benefits to the organization. And to the people that we work with, the founders and the next generation, it's generally about valuation. This process drives valuation. You drive the profit, you drive the multiple, you drive the valuation. And in our case, that tends to be the retirement plan for most of these people. So A, alignment is important. B, it's not hard to achieve. C, you just have to have a methodology. So
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yep.